So we know that there's lots of people making this fight for us, and this is a good indication that we're going to win this fight, and it's coming to a precipice here, folks. So the most important thing, and I've said it from the beginning, it's unified non-compliance. The only way we're going to get there is if everybody knows how corrupt the government is. This video kind of exposes that. You got Rocco Galati, the top constitutional lawyer in this country, suing in multiple provinces. He submitted his actions against the emergency orders in late May, and in June 9th, the emergency orders were revoked without any mention from the media that had happened.
Back on June the 9th, the declaration of emergency here in Canada was ended by the courts. The lawyers that are involved in this, the court cases were all won, and therefore the mask mandates are no longer in effect. The declaration of emergency was basically revoked. In other words, this fat shit bastard Ford, all 600 pounds of him are saying that you must continue to wear masks and you must continue to be vaccinated. That is crap, that is bullshit. The court systems now have come through for us, and there are no more mask mandates here in Canada. If you want to continue to wear them, that's up to you. Get sick and die, I don't really care. Do your research and do not use Google, do not use Instagram, do not use Twitter, and do not use YouTube.
So anyone that's incurring fines, because there is a percentage of the population that is now aware and awakened to the fact that this has been revoked. So anyone that's getting fines or getting in trouble
can fight it on the basis that it's not valid.
Well, here's my problem. It's like, why does the Ontario government choose to be so shadowy and not forthright with their communications and actions?
Well, they're happy to announce with the whole press corps that this new measure of no more than 10 people, but they don't even make it public with the same press corps that the emergency's been lifted.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And so, yeah, mainstream media could have been on this, but they weren't. So
a week ago or less than a week ago, I put out two videos. One was on the fact that the Ontario had revoked the Emergency Act. One was on the fact that BC had revoked the Emergency Act. Now, there have been people asking about updates. There's also been comments on the posts on awaycanada.org mentioning, oh yeah, but it's this and this, and it's extended till the 31st and all this. When you cancel the Emergency Act by creating a reopening act, if the emergency is canceled, you do not have any emergency powers, and therefore any tickets that are occurred for violating any of these orders should be challenged, and they will most likely be thrown out just like the majority of the tickets have been in the first place. He filed his petition challenging the emergency orders in May, and it takes about a week or so to go through the courts, and then the court ordered the revocation of the emergency orders on June 9th. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. So what we got here is the lawyers pushing back is starting to work. But what we also have here is a very corrupt government that gets a massive conference together to announce cases and this and that, and to tell you that the emergency orders are this and this, but they don't put together any press conference whatsoever to announce that the emergency orders were canceled on June 9th. So go ahead and watch this.
Okay, so read the whole thing to me.
Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act, Ontario Regulation 26421, Declaration of Emergency. Note, this regulation was revoked on June 9th, 2021. And it says C0 Reg 42521, Section 1. Last Amendment 45421. Legislative history, it just says positive. And then it goes on 3 lines, and then it's done. It says, whereas COVID-19 constitutes a danger of major proportions that could result in serious harm to persons. And whereas the criteria set out in subsection 7013 of the Act has been satisfied. Now, therefore, an emergency is hereby declared pursuant to Section 0701 of the Act in the whole of the province of Ontario.
Okay, so they're revoking the emergency as of June 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? they've revoked the declaration of the emergency. So now the question you're asking me, and people are asking, is so under what authority are they then maintaining these emergency orders, like lockdowns and
and like what does
numbers?
it mean? What does it mean for Ontario people, the people of Ontario, and why are businesses still?
Well, because I just said that these numbers and these maximum gatherings and all that are being provincially enacted under the false guise of the Reopening Ontario Act, right? And under Section 22 of the General Health Protection Act by public health officers. Got it? I say that you can't do it under those acts, but they're doing it.
And why do you think this was not announced? Like, why? This seems like a big deal, unless it's not.
Well, it's not announced because then people will ask questions like, well, if there's no emergency, why are you maintaining the emergency measures?
Exactly.
That's why. They don't want people to say, well, what the fuck is this?
Do you think this
And so they're figure skating around the rule of law.
Sure. Do you think this has anything to do with the recent lifting of restrictions in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and BC?
No, because they haven't lifted restrictions.
Well, no one, like all the mask mandates are all gone and things
Where?
in Alberta. And
But not here.
no, not here. But
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's the.
I don't know. They're supposed to make an announcement on the 19th, right?
Yeah.
But what, it takes them a whole month between announcements? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they're going to lift the measures like they did in Alberta and Saskatchewan for the summer.
So
may
Rocco, what does this mean for the people of Ontario? The fact that this declaration of emergency was revoked, in fact, on June 9th.
Well, what it means is logically there should be no emergency measures. Okay? But the government maintains they have General Health Protection Act measures, which I disagree with.
Yeah.
So you obey or don't or disobey at your own risk of getting ticketed. So
Right.
to me, it's not logical that you cancel the emergency and still keep the measures.
Right. It doesn't make sense. So let me just make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act was basically the thing that was holding up the notion that there was a pandemic that needs emergency care and fast action in the first place.
Right. That's the statutory framework. Yeah.
Right. So now it also holding in place that the numerous restrictions that were placed on society to combat COVID, essentially, that like it was holding that in place.
After the emergency was declared by cabinet. Yes, it's the only thing that holds those measures in place.
Right, right. And so since it's been revoked, it's probably safe to say that there's no more emergency?
Well, of course there's no emergency.
Okay,
but they maintain that they had an interim piece of legislation in there called the Reopening Ontario Act to relax the emergency measures, right?
Right.
Well, there's no emergency. There's no reason to relax, but they disappear. And then the local public health officers like, what's her name? DeVille, or whatever her name. Maintains, although I challenged her on this, and there was an opinion from the city of Toronto apparently that she said that they question her authority to make these measures under Section 22 of the Health Protection Act.
Of the Health Protection Act.
Yeah, which is a general act dealing with different scenarios. By definition, Health Protection Act doesn't deal with emergencies. Otherwise, you wouldn't need the Emergency Act.
So which comes first, the Emergency Act, then the health one, or was it health put in first and then emergency?
They're aimed at two different scenarios.
Right.
The Health Protection Act, if you have a localized outbreak, for instance, of poisoned water, she can invoke that. She can isolate the area. Or if there's a person who's got a viciously contagious disease, they can quarantine that person. It's not meant to apply across the province or across the municipality indiscriminately. Okay?
Got it. And now businesses and other things in society that are still adhering to, these restrictive emergency measures. Is that up to their discretion, or, I mean, should we just wait till they announce?
The government's put the government has put forth, in the absence of the emergency, counterfeit emergency provisions.
Yes.
If they don't abide by them, they can still get charged, but it makes no sense.
Right. So anyone that's incurring fines, because there is a percentage of the population that is now aware and awakened to the fact that this has been revoked. So anyone that's getting fines or getting in trouble
can fight it on the basis that it's not valid.
Gotcha. All right. Cool.
Okay.
Those were all the questions I had.
It's complicated shit.
Yeah.
Because the rulers are being fucking assholes.
Well, here's my problem. It's like, why does the Ontario government choose to be so shadowy and not forthright with their communications and actions?
Well, they're happy to announce with the whole press corps that this new measure of no more than 10 people, but they don't even make it public with the same press corps that the emergency's been lifted.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And so, yeah, mainstream media could have been on this, but they weren't. So,
well, I think the other reason too is all the lawsuits going in, right?
You think so?
And each one of these in each one of these applications, we challenge the emergency.
So let's just quietly revoke it and see what happens.
Yeah, so when it goes to the court, they can say, "Oh, it's moot. We revoked it," right? But they can put it in any time again. If you recall, when do we issue our applications? In May.
In May, yeah.
Yeah. And then in the first week of June, they quietly, I mean, it takes a couple of weeks to get these orders through, through the process. So, you know.
Interesting. Yeah, it's just a little bit frustrating. You know, I feel like we're always piecemealing and trying to figure out what the hell is going on, and just using so much energy.
They keep changing the goalposts so that when you get to court, they can say, "Oh, it's moot. You don't have to hear it. There's no emergency." But
True.
you know, it's not moot. They can bring this back. They tried that in the churches case before the U.S. Supreme Court. Mario Cuomo said, "Yeah, but we've opened up the churches completely," and the Supreme Court says, "Yeah, you can close them up tomorrow. So we're going to decide the case."
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well,
Okay.
I guess
All
more
right.
waiting and seeing what happens. Sorry, when was that announcement you said they were supposed to make?
Wasn't there a June 19th announcement? They were supposed
July
to.
July 19th?
I'm sorry, July 19th. They were supposed to say if they're
Maybe.
opening the province or not.
Oh,
Am
yes.
I wrong?
That's right. No, that's the end of towards the end of
3.
phase 3. Yeah.
Yeah, 3.
So let's see.
Fourth wave is coming in September.
According to them, yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Okay.
thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Talk to you
Okay.
later.
So there you have it. It's very, very clear here. The government is being very corrupt. They are not announcing these emergency orders, which also shows that the courts maybe are in our favor, and they're doing it where they can. They're winning some court cases in court where they might have gotten to a judge or corrupted a judge, but the overall system might still be intact, because all they're really using as tools against us is their press conferences and the media. So that doesn't mean that all the other departments are complicit. We already know that there's 18 police officers in Ontario suing the government of Canada. We also know that there's a lawsuit in almost every single province in this country by different lawyers. So we know that there's lots of people making this fight for us, and this is a good indication that we're going to win this fight, and it's coming to a precipice here, folks. So the most important thing, and I've said it from the beginning, it's unified non-compliance. The only way we're going to get there is if everybody knows how corrupt the government is. This video kind of exposes that. You got Rocco Galati, the top constitutional lawyer in this country, suing in multiple provinces. He submitted his actions against the emergency orders in late May, and in June 9th, the emergency orders were revoked without any mention from the media that had happened. They want to maintain control because they did not want to let people know that there's no emergency, because then they don't have any mass control. They don't have any control over telling people what to do. However, This should be the giant wake-up call, people. This video says this, but we should know right now, as Rocco said, they can re-invoke the Emergency Act anytime they want, and you can count on it. What are you going to do in the fall if they impose more emergency orders? And they lock us all down again, and they close the bars and they close all the businesses, because this is what we're going to be facing in the fall. So what I need every business, every person, every single human being, not just in Canada but everywhere, to understand the only way to beat this is 100% non-compliance. That's it. Do not listen. Take your ticket. Fight your ticket. All of us together are stronger than the government. All of us together can end this tyranny. It's been 16 months. It's time to put a fucking end to this. This is ridiculous, and we know it's coming in the fall, and I'm preparing you for it. And there's other really bad stuff coming in the fall. I'm not going to talk about that in this video yet. But you better man up. You better get prepared. We are in a war, and this video shows you just how corrupt the government is by not mentioning any word whatsoever of the revocation of the Emergency Act, and that's been done in multiple provinces. I've heard now it's done in Saskatchewan. I haven't heard an update on Alberta yet. I think Rocco in that video, I can't remember. I just finished watching the whole thing. Something about Manitoba too. So I believe most of the provinces probably have had the emergency orders revoked, at least the provinces where there's lawsuits challenging the emergency acts. So BC had theirs revoked on June 30th at midnight. Okay, so there's absolutely no reason to pay attention to any emergency orders whatsoever. Vaccine passports are illegal. It's discriminatory. It is discriminatory to tell anyone, well, we're a private business and we're going to wear masks. We still require you to wear masks. Walmart has already announced on August 18th that they're going to reinstate the mask thing. What the hell do they know a month and a half from now? Okay, if you don't think that that's fishy, Walmart's actually openly, blatantly has on signs in their stores saying as of August 18th, the mask will be reinstated. That's because, one, they know they'll have the support of the government because they're working in collusion with the government. This is big corporate America that's dictating the laws to our governments, because our leader is a spineless piece of shit that's taking bribes to push these vaccines, which are all illegal. Given the fact that the emergency orders are over, they should not be giving these vaccines anymore. From my understanding, I don't know how strong this is in Canada, but from my understanding, there's not a lot of people left that wish to take the vaccines. That's why they're reinventing campaigns. They're putting pressure on employers. They're going to go door to door like they're doing in the States. Just tell these people to fuck off.
Looks like we have our first victim.
Absolutely no right an employer has over you to tell you you have to get vaccinated to stay. If they do, tell them to fuck off. Put it in writing. I'm going to sue your motherfucking ass to the bottom, man. Man up, people. Get strong. Stop taking shit from anybody. Okay? You want this country back? Every single person's got to get tough. Okay? And I mean tough. That means, like, do not put up with shit. Do not be scared of making a post on Facebook telling you how you feel. Do not hold back your anger from having the last 16 months of our Canadian way of life stolen from us. Get pissed, people, and make it apparent to everybody. Thanks for watching. Share this video. Let's make sure that the government knows that we are coming for them.